Welcome back. On this, the 62nd anniversary of India's independence, our team spoke to various segments of the Goan population, both young and old, to get a pulse of their sentiments on freedom and independence.
There's a lot of corruption still in the government. I really think there's no sense of unity left amongst the Indians today. I think all Indians should learn how to call themselves Indians first, and the first aim of their life should be their country before their state or their community or anything else.
I think that many of us have actually forgotten the importance of what this day actually means for us. Many of us tend to think of it just as a holiday in which we have to attend about a 1-hour ceremony at school. We do not realize that our leaders, our freedom fighters, worked very hard to achieve independence for us. We tend to take freedom for granted these days. Indian youth has a lot of potential. We can work to make India a much better country than it is. I think Goa state has been deteriorating in the past.
Today, India's population, more than 60% is the youth. I know we seem very Western from the outside, but there is a true Indian within us. And we as youth have to make these values come out of us. The youth of today will become politicians of tomorrow. Today's politicians may be corrupt, but we look at them and say, oh, corrupt politicians. Tomorrow people will look at us and say the same things. We as youth have to wake up and say all this. No, we are the youth, we are the good people.
My message for all the Goans would be, especially for the youth, to be proud of their nation and to bear in mind all the sacrifices that our freedom fighters have taken in order to give us this freedom, this independence.
As a state, we think about our politics, and politics, we say it's very dirty. If a house is not clean, why not we clean it? So it's our duty to take part in politics and show all the Goans that we youths, the present youth, can do lots of things.
Independence Day, it's like we can remember that the formation of Constitution. India has given us today all the fundamental rights. There's not all the fundamental duties of the citizen and all what we are because of the Independence Day. Otherwise still we would have been under the British rulers.
Apart from rejoicing and taking pride in our independence, this day should also be the day to reflect on several things that our country should focus on in a very, very big way. For instance, the most important thing is that we need peace in our country, in our society. We need safety, security, good law and order. Apart from that, we need access. The poor, the underprivileged people, they need access. And we need timely justice. This is where our nation needs to focus on. This day should also make us think aloud about the quality of our polity and leadership. All of us know how our governments function. Taintedness should have no place in our polity at all. And similarly, with all these scams and scandals and coups and defections, we are crying for good governance.
Freedom is the most important and ultimate goal of any individual or a nation or a state. But the question that we have to ask today is, are we really independent? Has the vision of all these great leaders, have we fulfilled their vision? I would say no, because if you take even a small state like Goa, there are so many difficulties that we are facing, but still there is a lot of hope. We have the youth, and I think our 21st generation youth will fulfill all these objectives, and we have all to strive to do our best and give our country our best and give Goa our best.
For us Goans, independence meant the confirmation of our self-esteem and freedom to go about our own way of life without being apologetic to others or seeking or looking up for the sanction of anyone else. Over these years, last 60 years or so, there have been much changes which are not exactly healthy, and much thing could be done to improve these things. Especially in the field of the enforcement of laws and in the election systems.
Yeah, I think, we never really realize how lucky, how infinitely lucky we are to belong to this country. The question remains that after 60 years, we have to ask ourselves, what have we done for this country? Have we continued to remain honest in public life? Have we continued to seek the path of social justice? Have we continued to look after our less fortunate brethren, those of us who are better placed? Have we continued to try and root out corruption and bring justice to so many people who are suffering the indignity of injustice in this country? But I think after 60 years, it's payback time. There is a lot that we as citizens of this country need to do for India, and certainly we need to do for Goa as well.
It's progressed in the last 61 years, definitely yes, but we could have done much more. Compared to the other countries who have become independent much after us, today if we see that it's a pathetic state. Basically the blue-collared entrepreneurs, could have willfully taken it as a challenging job, to uplift this country. But then it is basically a nexus of the unruly politicians, I would say, who have never been supportive of the cause.
I believe that after independence we have been vested with the responsibility of deciding and determining our own future, and we have to work towards it. This is what independence means. Being an independent nation, we are in a position to experiment, we are in a position to take our own decisions, and sometimes we do take wrong decisions, but we look at the larger good decisions that are being taken. That is where our country is going to prosper, and every citizen of this country is going to be proud, like me. I'm very proud to be an Indian, and especially of late when we travel out of country, we get a lot of respect, not the way which we used to get some 8-9 years back. The world is looking at all Indians and India with a lot of pride, a lot of respect, and no more as a country of the sadhus and spiritual leaders. It's being looked as a country of emerging professionals, emerging entrepreneurs, and that's where we are proud of.
There has been a lot of development in India after India's independence, but I feel we could have done much more than what we have achieved, and especially in reaching to the grassroots levels, because most of development is in an urban area rather than in the rural area. What message I want to give is that, especially to the youth of Goa, the youngsters, because they are the pillars of the future of Goa, that they have to work for Goa, try to maintain our identity, not run only after the money, but make a judicious use of the money and work for the state. Not work for self, but for the state.
The message that strongly comes through is that we as Indians need to be proud of our nation and its achievements over the years. However, we have a long way to go in terms of development, and that's where the baton passes on to the youth of this country. With that, we come to an end of this evening's bulletin. Before we wind up, here's a reminder of the headlines. Independence Day is celebrated with great fervour throughout the state. We also have an exclusive interview with the Leader of Opposition, Mr. Manohar Parrikar. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and analysis for you. Until then, it's goodbye and good night.